want to start a new reading journal? Do you need to have washi tape, stickers, a printer, stencils, stamps, and ink pads, micron pens or Tombow pens? Or do you want a journal like any of these pretty aesthetic themed type of journals? Then this video probably isn't for you. There are tons upon tons of accounts that provide the pretty videos that show you how to follow their themes, how to put stickers down, how to make it very aesthetically pleasing. I'm not one of those creators. I don't have the resources or space or time to buy all of those pretty things. Maybe one day, but I'm not really going to worry about it. So today we are going to be making our 2025 reading journal with two things. A journal that I got for free during a sale at Michael's when I bought my last journal, and a pen. I have a Bic Velocity pen that I also got for free from work. I do have Zebra Click Art pens that I'll probably use during the filling out of the journal, just like last year. Have one color per month because I really like that. But to set it up, we're just going to use the Bic Velocity pen. Once you have your materials, you just need to sit down and think about what you want to put in your journal. There are tons and tons of ideas, but I start with 4 things in my reading journal. And that's last year I had 3 things. This year I'm going to be adding in my monthly stats. There are tons of videos that have ideas for reading journals. There's tons of resources out there looking for different types of reading journal ideas. These are the basic things that I enjoy in it. So in my reading journal, I like to have a list of my physical books that I haven't read yet. As I read through them, I like to highlight or cross them off the list. My ongoing challenge for myself is to read all the novels that I have physically. I have a pretty large library from when my husband and I moved in together years and years ago. And so we brought both of our libraries together. We created this pretty large library, and as a part of creating an intentional library for myself, I need to know which books I want to keep in that library and which books I can give away. In order to figure that out, I need to read all the books. So you can make this pretty in your reading journal if you wanted to use that. A lot of people call it like a physical TBR. And there's a lot of creators out there and a lot of people who make little books on bookshelves and color them in as they read it, or they do a color-coded theme for how they color in these books. I like to just write them down in a list type of view and highlight or cross them off as I read them. So here you'll get to see that I have a lot, a lot of books that are on here. So I'm just going through, writing all of these down. I am folding the piece of paper in half for my page so I can have a good idea where the middle is. The next part of my reading journal is my index. I use this to put the page number of the book review and the title of the book and what rating I gave it. And this lets me look at a glance at the books that I read and just gives me a hit of dopamine. Also lets me look at things when I'm trying to figure out what are my favorites or what I rated high or very low. And if I put a DNF on there, I'll also get to know, can count it up. It just gives me a reason to look at the index a little bit more, find out where all of my things are at. The third part is the newest addition to my reading journal. This part of my journal was usually kept in my regular planner last year, with where I kept my monthly logs and checklists of things. But that's a part of creating a journaling system, is I can figure out what goes in what journal, what planner, and this will help me go back to my reading journal more often than I was last year. So I use Storygraph to gather my monthly stats, which includes how many books I read in a month, how many pages or hours was read, what formats were read, what my ratings were, and what genres I read in a month. I like to have a calendar that also shows which books I read on which days and how long it takes me usually to read a book. And this page, well, I guess you could call it spread, but it's the back part of this page, and I may squish it on the same page in later months. I don't know. It's going to evolve as we go. But it'll also have the list of books that I started or am currently reading in a month and whether I finish them or not. And the last part of my reading journal is what I consider to be the main part. It's the book reviews. I use the call pile system to rate my books. So I like to have what score I gave each different letter in there. So the call pile is the first letter's characters, then the atmosphere, then the writing, the plot, if I was intrigued in the book, the logic of the book, and how much I enjoyed the book. Each of these get a number score, and those all get added up and then divided by 7, and that gives you your rating for the book. And then I average that up or down based on what number it is, so I can use it in putting it in a rating in my story graph. So I like to write that on my book review as well by the book covers. And beside the cover, I write out the title, the author, what format I read, the length of the book, and the dates I read the book. And then underneath the book cover, like I said, I put the call pile scores. And then beside it, underneath the dates read, is where I start my thoughts on the book. Sometimes I'll write little bits and pieces of the book that I want to, just like little plot points that I liked in there. Sometimes it's just straight stream of conscious what I was thinking of this book. And after I write that and I write my feelings, I like to write quotes that I took from the book that I want to keep. A lot of my books that I read, if I'm not reading them physically, they're being borrowed from the library, so I won't have them. If I have it physically, I can highlight or annotate the books that have the quotes in it. So if I'm not, I like to keep the quotes that I have, and this is the place that I'll write them down. And that's it. That's my reading journal. You don't need to have all the extra to have a reading journal, especially when you're just starting out. As you continue to journal, you'll find yourself acquiring more pens, more stickers, ephemera. You may invest in a small little printer. I do have one that prints black and white and prints on sticker paper, but I'm not going to use it for this reading journal, but I did use it in last year's reading journal. And I don't want to encourage anybody to start buying stuff for starting out with the new hobby. You'll just find things that you'll start to collect after a while, and then you can build up to having a beautiful aesthetic reading journal if you want to. I find myself coming back to these more minimalistic journal spreads in any type of journal I have, as well as any planner I have, just because I like it. It's easy, it's simple, it doesn't take too much of my time, and I don't have to say, oh, I need to buy more things for this one hobby. But you'll figure out what you want to do as you go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have an amazing day, night, afternoon, whatever it is where you are. Don't forget to do the YouTube things and like and subscribe. And I also have a Patreon if you want to support me, and the tiers start out at $1. And I release a video once a week and do 2 streams a week as well. Right now we are working on Sundays, Final Fantasy 16, and on Wednesdays, Dragon Age Inquisition. And in the description below, I'll have all the social links below, as well as the channels to the other creators that I showed pictures of their reading journals, and some reading challenges, videos, or links as well, if you want to do any of that. And I hope you all have an amazing time, and I'll hopefully talk to you guys very soon. Bye.